Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Continental Aspire Soccer. Today, I'm joined with a very interesting guest. His name is Simon Hall, and he is one of the best experts that you can find out there on the world of refereeing. Coming across some of the work you've done, Simon, like the series on the Ref Lounge, a channel I've managed to find on YouTube, where you dissected different events on the pitch. I found it really interesting. I've not seen any other person do that in the way that you did. So we're going to get into some of the stuff you've done there today, and also your background and some spicier topics. Yes, but first of all, Simon, how are you this morning?
I'm fantastic. So I can't complain at all. And football's back next week, so I'm definitely not complaining.
Brilliant. I mean, yeah, it's very much in the similar vein to me. International football's getting a bit more interesting at the moment. But when doing the research that I do, Simon, I try not to stalk anyone's social media. You know, it's hard you want to get the research done, but you don't want to come across as a creep. But I've gone through your LinkedIn, and it's quite interesting to see how many different jobs you've done, working at colleges, sales, different things like that.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to kind of get into the path you've taken. So talk me through pathway from when you were younger, going through school and things, these different jobs, and also now, believe you might have exited the role, but President of Sheffield Referee Association. Just talk me through, what's the path been for you? Because I'm really interested in that.
I think the path in work-wise is I'm ex-forces.
Okay.
I had quite a nasty accident whilst I was in there, so that kind of stopped. That was the end of that. And I think the thing is with that, when you've got a dream from the age of 7 and there's no other dream, there was no backup plan or anything. Zilch. So off I went. And when I came out, then you kind of do your job to find out what you want to do, where you want to be in the world type thing. And then you have your wedding and you have your kids, and your kids start playing football. There's no referee for that kid playing football. So me, I'll do it. Yeah, go on, I'll do it type thing. So the interesting thing is it wasn't a red, but the first player I ever asked to leave the field of play due to an interesting tackle at the age of 8 was actually my own son. So regards there, but I found my feet in sales and business development, and talking and communication and various things like that. But the football side of things, I ended up joining a club called Bayton Falcons. They'd only had the one team for 1 year, and then within 3 years of me being there, we had 17 teams. You know, we built it, we worked hard. There were 3 of us, the 3 amigos, they called us, and we built the junior side, the girls side, and the adult side. And of course, I was refereeing at the time as well. So my life was football. Because the thing is when you're going on the promotion trail of refereeing, you're all over. You know, there was times I was at a game on a Saturday morning managing till about 20 minutes to go to full time and having to shoot off because I had a FA Cup first round fixture or an FA Trophy game, and you had to shoot off then. You had no choice. You could not be late in any way, shape, or form. And that went on. That kind of went on for ages. But then I ended up working in a school. I just wanted to work. I had a safeguarding issue within a team, and I dealt with it and everything, and realised what some of our kids' backgrounds and their families, and and the lack of support and stuff. And I ended up going into education and found my feet for over a decade. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I'm going to say that, I mean, if you work in education, and I salute everybody over the last 12 months on what they've done to keep going, to change things for the benefit of the kids and their families, and to try and keep communicating with everything that's going on. I think it's been phenomenal. I really do, what they've done. And then I've ended up in education myself again, but my software background ended up in education and software. And that just carries on, and I just educate young referees, new referees, mentors, and I just carry on, and I just love helping people. It's just where I have found my feet. So yeah.
I mean, it's usually when I do these interviews, I kind of interject, but I just had to let you keep going there because I think that's one of the most interesting answers I've ever had. Just because.
So, no, it just is. It's amazing. And then refereeing, the Referee Association, it is the place that I think every referee should be a member of. And I was vice chair at Sheffield RA. Then I was chairman, and then I became president, which I've now left because I've set up Steel City RA. So Steel City Sheffield, you might just get the link on that one. And I set up Steel City RA with two really close friends because we wanted to take it forward online, you know, away from the traditional. So, for instance, Thursday night, little plug, we're doing about dealing with foul and abusive language, but it's a 30-minute quick fire training. We are, regardless of lockdown, we are all so busy. So a quick training session, 30 minutes, bang, 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 there you go. It's kind of where I think we're at now in how our lives are. So yeah, so we've kind of changed things a bit there, and like I say, set up a new RA to help lots and lots of people.
I'm quite speechless to some of the things, just because, well, I've got my interview structure in front of me, and I wanted to start mainly like when you're saying when you were younger, and I thought, because like I said, I haven't gone too far back, and I thought the answer I was going to get was you went straight into refereeing in football, but to hear you went into the armed forces and then came out due to an injury. So just a clarification, at what point in your life, what sort of age did you come home then? And like you said, you didn't know what you were going to do.
I was 20, didn't have a clue. My dreams were gone. I went straight into the army from school. Dreams were gone. It was the only thing I wanted to do. It was tough. It was really tough because in the army, you've got to be tough. You've got to have a tolerance level. And that tolerance level at first, it was arrogant. It was really arrogant, you know, I'm the army, you know, and that type of thing. So you kind of, but then you were a bit bitter as well. So you've got a bit of a chip on your shoulder. So that doesn't bode too well, you know, at all. And all you've ever talked about is the army, and now that's gone. I did, you know, I worked in a paper shop, you know, literally managing a newsagent just purely on the basis that it was a job. But yeah, I actually tended to, I mean, I loved it, but it also allowed me to go home and away watching football. So literally I got to travel home away abroad because the owner of the news, he was brilliant with me because he knows I'd always make my hours up. And then later on in life, when I was working in school, because sometimes I'd be leaving the school at 3:30 to go referee an evening game, which I might not get back in till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, but I'd be back in work at 7 the next morning. Those days are tough.
Yeah. It's just a lot of things you're saying kind of trigger with me a bit, just the idea of, because from a similar experience, it feels completely different, also similar. I went to uni after college, and it was completely not what I wanted to do, and I dropped out at about the same age that you would have come home, like 20, and you have that feeling of everything you've worked towards, and you build up the arrogance thinking you know what you're going to do, and then you drop out, and it feels like, oh, not sure. And you say you joined like doing a paper shop thing, and had to do a similar job as well, where it's just like, it's quite a level, not a level down, but it feels like bringing back to earth in a way. So yeah. You're saying but at this point still you had this interest in football, right? Yeah,
I was a home and away traveller. So am I allowed to say which team?
I'm gonna guess by the accent and by the multiple associations, it's Sheffield. Oh wait, there's two, isn't there? Oh, okay, go on, enlighten me.
Well, the Sheff United, the Sheff Wednesday, but I'm actually from Manchester. I'm a Manchester United fan, so I followed them in the non-glory years. All the way through. So and just showing my age a bit, you know, pre-Premier League, you know, football didn't just appear the day the Premier League appeared. There was a load before that. So yes, we travelled Europe. We travelled all over with them because it was, you know, it was like a camaraderie thing. So, and what's quite funny is you've mentioned Ref Lounge.
Yeah.
And Ref Lounge I did with Keith Hackett.
Okay.
So Keith Hackett was a referee at Old Trafford when I have no doubt I had a chant in mind because all referees were the same and everything else like that. So to do Ref Lounge with Keith later on, and we joked about it because we went to China together, and we actually joked. I joked about the fact that I was in a car at stupid o'clock at night on the way to Manchester Airport to go to China with Keith Hackett, and I told him who I used to just slate every week for bad decisions. So, but then he'd argue with me that they were right, and they were right. I just didn't know the laws of the game when I was that young.
What a nice little way for it to come around for you, though. Like so many years later, to be doing the show with him was brilliant. Well, I was just going to mention, so like you going home and away and watching Manchester United. I mean, I was just going to ask though, because I've not met many people who go into refereeing, and I've played football when I was younger, and it looks like a job that is up there in terms of hell. Just the amount of, like you've just mentioned there, you'd be given an abuse every week and sort of thing. I was just going to ask, at this point, were you, I mean, you were just saying you were slating the ref, but were you thinking about the game in a different way? Like, at what point in your life did you start to kind of go more to that way? Was it literally, I know you mentioned earlier that it sounded almost as simple as, oh, we need a ref today, I'll do it. Was that literally the moment, or was there a bit of interest before that? That was the moment.
That was kind of the moment. I was like every parent, you know, watching the kids play football week in, week out. And, you know, we couldn't always get a referee. In fact, there isn't enough referees. There weren't then, and there's a lot less now, and there's more games now. But the thing with it is the fact that you just kind of step forward. And I did a few games, and, you know, we had a bit of laugh, and then it was took for granted that I would do the games. But so I went on the referee course. I actually then chose then. So I'm trying to think, my son was 8, he's 27 now. So there you go, let someone else do the maths. And that was kind of it. But I just passed the exam to referee his team. I had no intentions of doing anything else whatsoever. Wow. And then the thing with refereeing is they call it the referee bug, and it's true. And I ended up I got asked to cover a game, and it doesn't exist anymore. It was Sheffield and Ollerton Sports League or something. It was Ollerton Sports League, which was on a Saturday afternoon. And it was, and I always remember it, it was CFC versus Farm Road, and they were notorious teams. They were notorious for getting out of hand. And thing is, we don't have assistants. And I went on to this game, it was an adult game, and there were some very, very big players. Than me. And we had about 3 minutes to go. And I remember rightly, because I hadn't followed the structure. No one had helped me at this point. And I used to referee in a cap because I was a lot bigger than I am now. And I'm not exactly small now. And, you know, and trying to run around, because I always had a thing that I had to get to where I needed to be. And I'd bust a gut to get there. But this game, these two lads, they squared up. And I mean, they must have been 6'6", 6'5" each. And I thought they're going to go at it. And I went in between them, pushed them apart. And I'm like, lads, there's like 3 minutes to go. Why are you going to ruin a great game like that? And they looked at each other, and I'm thinking, please don't do anything, because if you clobber me, I'm gone. I'm out of here, you know. So, and anyway, they backed off. And after the game, I thought, I can do this. I could actually do this. And so I spoke to the referee development officer and ended up on different leagues and stuff. And it all began. And it just become. And the thing is what people don't realise within refereeing, and you see it on social media, the referee fan club and all that sort of stuff. We are a tight-knit community. You know, we're all friends because we're all in it kind of together, which is the thing we've heard over that shit. And what actually slowly happens, especially when you're going on, because the day you become a referee, watching your team is different.
All right. How so? Let's go into that. So, go for it.
There's suddenly 3 teams on the pitch. When you become a referee, there becomes 3 teams on the pitch: the home, the away side, and the referee team.
Oh wow!
Because referee, people forget that the referee group is a team. So going back to your 2 assistants, your referee, and then you've got your 4th official. And then as time's gone on, obviously we've now got VAR. But you are a team, and you're in sync together, and you see things, because with good refereeing, all the communication we say is done downstairs, which means it's done below waist height. So now they're mic'd up, so it's a bit different. You know, they're mic'd up in the sense that they are telling each other, you know, look, we're going left or we're going right, or home team, away team, whichever they're shouting. But before mics, it was all pointing below waist height. So everybody went together and went the right way together. So you see a different team, and you start seeing why they're doing things. And then when you do see a mistake, or what they construe as a mistake, you look at where the referees actually stood, and you go, he's got no chance of seeing that. He's got to know, you know, how the hell is he or she going to actually see that from there? And you're slating them. So you start seeing things totally different.
And that really came across. I mean, we'll go into it a lot more later, but that really comes across in the clips I've watched of you, where like I'm going into it expecting you to say, oh, the player did this, or like the ref made this decision right. But the first things you're talking about is the referee's body language is brilliant here. He's calming the situation, or he's being authoritative here. And the way, I get what you mean, the way you look at it, it's almost completely different. It's things I never would have considered. Before we head into that, because there's a lot of interest, I just want to map it out a bit more as well, because as you've just proven right there, and also as I'm talking about it now, the knowledge you have, just like in terms of the officiating world and refereeing, what you see is so massive that I would have expected, like I thought you'd started a really long time ago, but I mean, don't have to say your age or anything, but it sounds like this was quite a while after coming over from the armed forces, age 20. Like you said, the first time was when your son was aged 8. And so how, like, I guess the question I was going to ask is, how did you learn so much so quickly?
You've got no choice. In refereeing, you've got no choice. I'll try not to get on a soapbox here. If you're me, and me has a thing about perfection, then I strive to be better at everything that I do. So joining the referee association, as it was, meant that I then got support from some amazing referees who were in the old, like, Division 1. You know, so they would help you, they would guide you. If you had a problem, nobody laughed at you. You know, if you'd made a mistake, see the thing, because that's the other thing with mistakes in refereeing. You know, I'll tell you now, a referee knows when they've made a mistake. You know, so social media now will not let you forget that mistake, but you don't until your next game. And it does, you know, the amount of sleep you can lose at night for hours and hours. Now, my thing is going to grassroots now, there isn't enough development, but there isn't enough of a buy-in either from referees. So go back to Simon at when my son was 8 years of age, going in refereeing his team on there. That's what a lot of people do, and then they'll stay within that club. So they'll not just do that team; they'll do another team within the club, but they won't go on another course to develop. They have no idea if they are doing it right because no one's telling them. So you have to put yourself around. Now, both my kids are referees, and they had the absolute best referees around them whilst they went through it. So they learn, and all the people, all my colleagues, me and everybody around me and friends had the thing to turn around and go, what was that? Where was your positioning? You know, my daughter's come off a game and gone, I've had a right game, and I've gone, have you? You really think you've had a good game? Well, yeah, I only missed this and this. And I went, so you missed that and that. What else did you miss? This and that. So you still think you've had a good game? Well, no. Well, how could you have got that better? You know, and it is, you know, people can criticize refs all they want on social media. We criticize ourselves a hell of a lot worse. And we do take the mickey out of each other, you know, proper take the mickey out of each other.
Yeah.
That's what we do, you know, because we have to keep sane.
Yeah, I mean, that leads on to our next topic sort of thing I had, which was like, how do you set about becoming not just a referee, but like you're mentioning now, I mean, you're a perfectionist, so I guess this will ring true with you, like the perfect ref. So like you said, you had to you kind of got thrown in the deep end, and you said you passed a test on the day of refereeing that game. What other things are there? So is it almost like coaching where you've got different levels you need to pass?
Yeah.
Is it like that? Can you explain that for us?
You start at level 7. If you're over 16 and you pass your level 7 referee. So, and if you look at the likes of Craig Pawson and them, they're level 1 at the Premier League.
Yeah.
So it goes the other way. So it's 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2A, 2B, 1, something like that at the very top now. So you're striving. If you're under 16, because you can qualify at 14 years of age, then you're level 8. Yeah. And you'll stay at level 8 until you're 16, and then you're automatically level 7. You do a year and you can go for promotion. So, and then what you have to do there is like 20 middles. So actually referee in the middle of 20, and it's technically the under 18s and above to qualify as a game. So, you know, an under 9s doesn't qualify for a promotion game, you know, but an under 18s would, for obvious reasons, you know, to go to the next level. So that goes to level 6, but you can get observed as well. So somebody will come and they'll mark you, and they have a criteria that they'll mark you against to say, you know, yes or no for that promotion. You've also got club marks that come into it as well. So the clubs mark you. So in your games, so they'll look at your club marks as well, whether that's right or wrong. I have my own personal views whether the club should be marking you, but you know, but 7 to 6 it's one of those journeys where it's more about knowing the laws of the game and identifying fouls, you know, and free, you know, and the corners and stuff. There's not too much emphasis on playing advantage and acknowledging it and stuff, but you've got to have a bit of a level of fitness and awareness around you. So they're the key things. 6 to 5, you start changing. Your game changes because people are coaching you all the way, and you won't do it without being coached. You know, so saying that, you won't. There is some. There are some that do it, but I don't believe they do it without any help whatsoever. You know, so the RA, for instance, Steel City RA, we've got a great mentoring platform. We've just not been able to implement it yet because we're not that old as an RA, but we're looking forward to implementing it when we're allowed to actually go to a game. So that'll be fantastic. And then 5 becomes interesting. Level 5 is where it becomes wow. Because level 5 is you tend to be on the line at the likes of northeast counties, which is like step 6 in the footballing pyramid, and then you're in the middle on your county seniors, or what we have near us is called Central Midlands, and that's a step 7. So you tend to do your middles at one level and your lines at the level above, and that's, you know, when you start doing lines, when you start being an assistant referee, is when you start learning. Okay. Because you are with such experienced referees, and you're watching them. You're watching and listening, and they're helping and they're guiding all the time. But the thing is and this is a point I've always made to my 2 kids. you will learn off every referee. No matter how bad they are, and no matter how good they are, you will learn from every referee. You will see things on a pitch that you will never do because you're cringe. But you can't do it. You are a team. So going back to the third team, yeah, you are a team, and you're there for each other on that day for that 90 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I've just got a couple of things in there. So just for context, so which level did you reach then? Was it level 6?
I was at level 5, which is your semi-pro leagues.
Yeah.
On the level 5, I nicely finished number 1 in the county, but then cocked up my fitness test. So, you know, it's one of them things. I should never have cocked it up, but I did, and that's life. You know, that happens. You go with the punches type thing. And but I went on to do a lot more mentoring.
Yeah.
I love mentoring, and I've only one referee I've mentored that I've not got to level 4, and that was purely because they failed their fitness test, whereas which I couldn't do for them, but I could do everything else.
This sort of leans into the mentoring. It might lean into mentoring then, because you're mentoring other referees to get to these levels. And coming from like a very mainstream, we don't know about referees' perspective, we're the people who go on Twitter and go, we can't believe Mike Dean did this. When we look at footballers, obviously they have like their career is almost like 18 years old to 38, and you can when you're thinking of what makes a good footballer, you can think of I don't know, Andy Carroll or Erling Haaland. Like, you can see, basically what I'm saying is you can see what makes an amazing footballer, what makes it, like, what parts of their game they need to improve on. With a referee, what aspects are there to making the perfect ref? And also, is there almost like a limit? Because with a footballer, I guess, like, we don't know how good they can get. With a referee, it almost feels like you can't win 6 or 7-0. You just have to keep churning out really, really good games. So it might have been a bit of a layered question there, but what would make the perfect referee, and how do you get to that level?
Refereeing's perceptive. It's all about perception on the person. What I think makes a perfect referee will be different to somebody else.
Okay.
And I always look at this, and if you go back FIFA many years, if you go back on FIFA on, I don't know, PlayStation 2 or wherever it were, you used to get a thing about the referee for the game, whether they were strict, medium, or lenient. And I look at the game now and still see that within refereeing, you know, at the very, very top of the game. Now, some prefer some players, and some prefer another. You know, and it's like, which one do you want? And everyone goes on about consistency within the laws of the game. Well, why not say, I've got Mike Dean this weekend, right? I already know that there's chances are there's going to be a card or two. So I'm going to keep my trap shut. And that's the same with Grassroots. You know, my son knows the referees, and he went back playing after he got to level 5. He went back playing. And he would look at who the referee would be, and he'd walk in the dressing room and say, lads, keep your gob shut today, because you'll get a card quicker than anything, and they'll not mind giving you a second yellow either. Okay. You know, and that's what he used to do. But he was also very good in the sense that he would get into a referee's ear in the most politest, nicest way.
In what way? How does he?
Supporting him. You know what, ref? That was do you know what, how you saw that? That was brilliant. Yeah, you know what? Or he'd walk in. If a player says something, he'll get in the middle and go, "Oi, walk away." No, you leave the ref alone, because what he's trying to do is buy a decision later on.
Yeah.
To say, and has it ever happened to me? Have I ever bought a decision? Been bought? Yeah, I did an FA Cup ladies game, and I still remember it. It was Radcliffe versus Durham ladies, and she was the captain in the tunnel before we went out. "Hi ref, how are you? Welcome. Hope you enjoy the game." And she kept the players off my back the entire game, and then she did a tackle, which was the easiest yellow ever. And because of who it was, I went, "Look, you've saved me a lot of hassle this game." And she knew it. She absolutely knew it. And I laugh about it because my own son now does the same philosophy. Keeps players at bay, and he's saving himself a tenner. That's what he's doing. He's saving himself a tenner by doing it. He's not. He's got the respect and stuff, but I do joke about it on stuff like that. But I'm, as a referee or an assessor, because observer as we're called now, I love to see communication, which means the referee talking to the players is an absolute must from me. Okay, I love to see a referee that works hard for the whole of the game. If I see you sauntering, it really gets me. It's a little bit of a pet hate. And if I am observing, I know some referees will speak to my daughter and say, "I've got your dad at weekend. What do I do?" You know, and she'll say, "Look, all he wants to do is hear you talk and see you work hard." And that means working hard to get like side-on views. So if there's attack, I don't want you behind play. I want you there and getting the best angle that you can get for that decision, because we get paid to do this. You got to remember, even though everyone goes on no ref, no game, which I don't believe, but I've never believed that. You know, jumpers for goalposts is always a thing. So if there's no referee, still jumpers for goalposts. You set up your game and off you go type of thing. But on a game, on a Sunday or a Saturday, whenever you go out, everyone's volunteers.
Yeah. You
are getting paid. So you have to give 100% no matter what. See, I've stopped doing multiple games because, as you know, there's a referee shortage. It's massive and it's getting bigger. This shortage, it's awful. So I get asked 3, 4, 5 games a weekend on one day. I'm down to doing just the one game, unless it's 2 smaller-sided games. But it's because I can't give 100% for that other game. So my refereeing thing is I know who I like in the Premier League referees. I know Martin Atkinson, for me, is the most consistent referee.
Okay.
Yeah. Michael Oliver is the best referee.
Okay.
Anthony Taylor is probably the second stroke, nearly at first for me. Those are at the top, and I know who I would say is at the very bottom, and I know why. Because they don't communicate, they don't move. You know, you can't talk to them. But you take them away from that Premier League setting and put them in, say, a referee association setting where they're giving training. They will use their own videos and their own mistakes.
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it. And I like the thing you talk about. I guess the good way to sum up the other thing was that focus. Like, you got to give the 100% every time, no matter what level. And before we touch on the Premier League stuff, I do want to go into grassroots refereeing, as I'm sure you do too. And you've mentioned there, it's the referee shortage at the moment in grassroots, right? Why do you think that is? Or I guess that's a big question, but where do you think that's coming from?
I can probably cover it reasonably quick in the sense that first problem I will put at the door of the FA, the Football Association themselves. They do not do enough for newly qualified referees. We lose so many in the first 12 months. I don't know what the figures are, but we lose a lot. So for that reduction, and it's like this, and nobody will answer you this, and I've asked the question and I've been denied the answer so many times. When you're running courses, you are replacing the referees that have left. So if you have 1,000 people go through a course, the chances are 1,000 people have left due to abuse or retirement. Yeah. just calling it a day.
Yeah.
So your numbers aren't going to alter, but what they're saying, we're not losing refs. Well, no, because what you're doing is you're replacing. So if I retired tomorrow, you lose a very experienced level 5 referee, but you will gain a level 8 or level 7 referee to replace me. And that's the problem. That experience is leaving in its droves and not being replaced. You've then got COVID at the moment. And with COVID, there's been no courses. So we're in for a rough ride.
Yeah.
And the FA themselves haven't done anything anywhere near enough for that. You then go to the abuse side of things. And it is there. And it's horrible. And, you know, and okay, you know, I've got broad shoulders and stuff, but it does get me. You know, it really does sometimes get me, especially when I know I'm right. They're the worst ones, when they're really going mad and you 100% know you're right. And then you've got the under 18s. Until the FA start treating an under 18 referee as getting abused as safeguarding, it won't change. If you do it as a safeguarding issue, they are, you know, that manager, that coach, that spectator, that player is abusing a minor. And it's a safeguarding incident. It's not discipline, but it is discipline, but that's after the safeguarding investigation of why they've done that. And you've got to remember the FA, so I'm going to give a bit of thing on here. They have the purple shirts and the yellow like captain's armband, but it's to show that they are an under 18 referee. So you've got no reason not to know that that referee is a minor. Don't get me wrong, it shouldn't happen to anyone. And when you look at the over 18s and you look at players getting smacked and chased and abused and everything else like that, and they get a 10-game ban, you know, we've had a player spit during the pandemic at a referee and he got a 10-game ban.
God.
You know, and it's like, why only 10 days? So, and it's because the FA need the money from the players. So refereeing is actually secondary. And if you treat in referee as secondary, then your numbers are going to drop.
Yeah.
You can't do it any other way. And the lack of training, we don't have to take. So if I'm level 7 going for 6, so sorry, if I'm level 7 and that's all I want to be, I never have to pass another test. Be assessed, be observed. I have nobody to measure my standards as a level 7. So when the laws of the game change, which they do annually, when the laws of the game change, how does the FA know that that person is adequately up to date?
Yeah, that's a really good point there. And I do, like, just before you continue, I think I like with the abusing as well, because like I said, I've played Sunday League football. Most people have. And I think I come from London, and I think most people in London tend to think everything north of here is very nice and everyone's very lovely, which I'm sure is not always true, as you just mentioned with the incidents. But I can just, like, as you're talking there, I just remember days from Sunday League where a referee makes a decision that's probably not even wrong, and even if they're not a minor, they're like 18, 19 years old, and you just get parents screaming at them. I remember a couple of times a referee getting chased after the game. And I do remember there's nothing in place to stop that. Like if the parents want to go up to that referee and shout in his face, that referee is on his own. There's no one out there to protect him. And you were talking there about the shortage and everything, and like referees, I can absolutely see why. Even if I'm growing up and I really want to go into refereeing, maybe I don't have the footballing skills, or maybe it's just something I'd like to do. I can imagine just quitting after a year, because it must be like you just look at it. Even Premier League referees, the treatment they get, no wonder like it's such a hard task to get them to stay. It's just really interesting.
Well, it is. You've also got the fact that this pandemic is going to change things. Okay, so on a Saturday, do I go turn up half an hour earlier, check a pitch, check nets, check players' jewellery, get abused when I ask them to remove jewellery? because last week's referee didn't, which comes to consistencies and standards. Do a game, get shouted at, get a ball. You know, I've even known managers and coaches pay the referee afterwards and chuck it on the floor in front of them. Or do I put a lead on my dog and go for a walk down the Transpennine Trail in the countryside, have a chill and a laugh? I can't now at the moment, but then meet at a cafe, have a coffee, have a chat, and then have a nice walk back. They're going to be my options when football returns.
Yeah. And if you don't have that passion for refereeing, like that very, very, very clear passion that's unwavering in every opportunity, there's no way you're not going to take that second route, which is just so much more stress relieving. So so before we touch on Premier League referees, because I'm really interested in this, what is the best way to go about fixing this? Because it feels like I guess it can feel like the trickiest problem in the world.
Tell everybody to love it. Tell everyone, just love it. Because there's a for and against argument here, right? In the sense of, and my referee friends will go, why have you said that? The more abuse I get, the better I referee.
Why's that?
Don't know. Proving a point. Proving a point. You raise your game. It's what you do.
I guess it's like,
I did an under-9s final.
Yeah.
And we laugh about it because I always measure my distance, and I did just over 5K in a single game under-9s final.
Yeah.
And I put it on internet, and someone says, how do you do that in an under-9s? I says, because I'm everywhere. I make sure I am everywhere on that pitch, that whoever loses that cup final has not lost because of me. You know, and that's kind of a real case in point about everybody doing everything they can. Now, I love refereeing. It comes across, I really do. And those people who do give that thing, I have been known to stop the game and walk across to them and have a chat, you know, but I'm me, you know, I'm not a new referee. So my thing is for us to move forward now, I would love we've got the what do you call them? Clubs are volunteers now, like COVID people that go around and make sure everybody's keeping a distance and stuff like that. What if after COVID they go around as a disciplinary thing? So at grassroots, junior football, you're getting abused, to go across to give them a yellow card that's pre-printed with a little thing on to say, look, you're getting a little bit carried away. Please calm it down, otherwise we're going to have to ask you to leave. You know, and just give it to them that way, because the people who do the abuse don't know it's them. They really do not know it's them. And I think that would be a great solution just from the grassroots point of view. The other one is as you pass, now I know it's not easy all over the country because not everyone's got a professional team or teams on their doorstep. I mean, we're in Sheffield, so we've got Sheffield Wednesday, we've got Sheffield United. You know, I mean, we're lucky. We've also got the world's oldest club in Sheffield FC. You know, the founders of the beautiful game, and they have academies. So new referees should be going there and being mentored. You know, and given the tips. So even if it was just 2 games, they have maybe a game on the line and a game in the middle. They get some tips. They go back out into their local team. They ref a few games, they come back, they ref another game, and then that person just gets some tips and stuff. Do you know what? Just those 3 games being supported at an academy level where all the parents have got to be silent, just being in that environment, we would increase the retention rates of referees.
Yeah,
just doing that would keep the retention rate.
Yeah, and I think there's a line you said in there, actually, that people who are abusing refs don't realise they're doing it. And I think that's actually such a really important point, because like going back to just like the most simple grassroots level, like myself playing Sunday League, I remember I remember one game where I thought the referee was having an awful match, and I'm generally quite quiet. I mean, I'm 5'5" and ginger with glasses. I'm not exactly going to be the biggest alpha male, but I do remember just shouting to the referee. I was like, "Why is that a foul? Come on, man!" and shouting at them. And the culture of Sunday League and the culture of grassroots football, that's almost accepted. Like, if you were to feel, if a player my age had been shouted at by everyone, you can imagine everyone going over and saying, "Whoa, step back here." But with the referee, it's almost like it felt almost accepted where, oh, our team is losing, referee makes a decision we don't like. It's acceptable for our entire team and everyone watching, supporting us to go, "What are you doing, ref?" And if you, that idea you had, so brilliant. If we just had, you got to think as well, because most Sunday League games, most grassroots games, they're all on the same pitches. They're all on the same fields. And like, all you need is a few people to go around and just say, "Right, you need to calm down, like, accept you're angry, but just need to sort it out." I think that was such a novel way of saying it. But this has led up really nicely, Simon, because so far I've just been educated here. And I think it's going to continue into the next topic, because coming in, the next topic I have is, if I've got it written down, is UK refereeing good enough? And do they offer the right chances to upcoming referees?